Blake Lively could not be more tone deaf.
Guys in college, the way they live.
There's a TikTok, and the guy's equivalent to women's ick are when women are wearing heels and they like roll their ankle. Welcome back to another episode of Mean Girl Pod.
Intro catch-up time.
AB, you look very demure today.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I guess, wait, I'm still trying to learn the word. So I guess it means like appropriate, but classy.
Yeah, like look at you coming to recording just wearing a cute, comfy, casual outfit, light makeup, light hair.
Didn't want to do too much.
Yeah.
Like I understood the assignment. I didn't overdo it. And my nails are not done. Like I'm very demure. Like demure. I watch this guy's videos and I just die laughing. No, but I don't die laughing because it's also like the word demure is so like there's not a lot of words on social media that I like. You know what I mean? Like a lot of trends and things. But I like this demure one because it's refreshing.
It's the era that you're in right now. And like I feel like I'm always in a demure era. Like I'm always just pretty casual, but I feel like that's your era right now.
Yeah, and it's like and I also feel like it's not effortless, right? It's not IDGAF, like it's not too cool for school. It's very like I understand, but I didn't go overboard, but I did the appropriate amount.
Yeah, like, and I love that you added it to the show notes, and I was like, oh my God, Alex, look at you staying up to date on words on social media.
Well, do you know what I did was I was like on Yahoo or something, and it was like trending on like a business, like it was like trending somewhere else because I guess somebody said Brat Girl Summer's over, now we're all demure.
Yeah.
And so that made Yahoo wrote an article on that.
The videos just crack me up. I had no idea what it meant literally like 3 days ago. Now it's on my For You page, and every single video I'm just laughing out loud. I'm like, genius.
Genius. Yeah, it's just an effortless little word. So I love it.
Do you want to know what else is demure?
Your Monster Cup drink?
How'd you know?
I don't know that your Monster Cup is so demure. Yeah, no, it is. It is. It's not trying too hard. It's just effortlessly there. And it's perfect.
You know what? The flavor. Actually, no, I feel like the flavor is demure. Like, it doesn't try too hard, but it's effortlessly so delicious.
What is the flavor?
This is the Ultra Fantasy Ruby Red. It's just so good. I mean.
Oh. And I love the pink can. It's my favorite right now.
I know. Every single time I see it, I think of you. I think of it as like a gender reveal because it's like blue on one side and pink on the other.
Yeah, it's perfect for gender reveals.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this one. And I'm demure when I drink Monster. Like, I'm not trying too hard. I'm just casually drinking my Monster.
Exactly. It's a great use of the word.
Thank you. How was your week? I want to know your roses and thorns.
Okay, so my roses are... I actually like that you did your thorn first last time, so I'm going to do my thorn first. Okay, but I've solved my thorn. But my thorn was... I got in this habit that I've, like, never been in, where I was scrolling... I was, like, doing doom scrolls at night. Like, I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I wasn't getting texts or anything. But I was just scrolling, like, anything, like, and I did it 3 nights in a row and I got like addicted to it. Like I remember breaking the habit. I broke it like 2 nights ago. I was like, phone is going upside down, 9 o'clock. Like there's no turning it over. And it was like hard for me to do. But that's something that I've never done. I've never been a scroller at night. So I couldn't believe I let myself do it. But the reason I let myself do it was I've been so uncomfortable sleeping. So I'm awake anyways. And so I was like, I could at least distract myself by looking at my phone. And what happened was, like, I found myself craving it the next night. And so I was like, whoa. So we have cut the problem, but that was my thorn because it didn't feel good. I don't sleep good when I would scroll for like 3 hours. Like my screen time was high. I was just like, ah. So that's
your baby's
thorn.
Your baby's gonna turn into an iPad kid.
Yeah. Oh no, she will not.
Are you not? Because you're not an iPad kid.
No, I'm pretty like no phone. I realize there's a time and a place for it. I know a lot of parents say like I love new parents I love parents before they have the baby saying, I'm not going to give him an iPad. And then it's just like, just wait, you'll eat your words. I totally believe that. I know I will. I'm just saying we're not going to be over iPadding.
Yes.
I also don't own an iPad, so if I have to invest in one for the kid, I will have a problem.
It means just your phone too, by the way.
Oh, true. It is like just like there's all these little cute YouTube deals they can watch, but I did see, like, read if screen time, if you put on like the screensaver on like Apple, that's like just one of those that like kind of lightly moves, it's lower stimulation.
Oh,
so that's like a good little hack that you can give the kids that because they still think it's just as cool. It doesn't have to be this like, it doesn't have to be this intense video. Yeah, so I have a war on screen time, and that's my thorn. My rose is everyone was telling me enjoy these like last months with just you and Harrison, and I was like kind of laughing at that at first. But what I've realized is they're like really sweet moments because we're never not going to have a baby again, like ever in my whole life, right? And so I've like slowed down and started like enjoying that, and we're spending like a lot of quality time together, and like a lot of that quality time is spent prepping for the baby, but I'm like really enjoying my time with him. He's about to go out of town, but I am loving just like hanging out the two of us because I do feel this sense of, oh my gosh, it'll never just be us again. So that's been really fun.
Oh, I love that. That's actually wild. You'll never not have a kid again.
No, like right now I get up in my days about me. You know what I mean? Harrison says in the morning, what's your schedule today? But once the baby's here, it's never going to ask me that again. It's never going to be what's Alex's schedule.
I just got a little sick in my stomach thinking about that.
Yeah, it's wild.
That is crazy. Wow. And oh my gosh, and you're going to be here. You're going to be here. The baby's going to be here so soon.
I know. So now I'm like, okay, let me just enjoy this time.
I really love that though. That's sweet.
Yeah, thank you. What about you? What are your roses and thorns?
Okay, so my thorn is I thought Pete died.
Wow, that is a thorn. That's a massive thorn.
Don't worry, he's alive and well.
Well, I figured.
So he went to Canada for work. He actually went to Toronto, but I guess that's pretty far from Vancouver. That's like comparing New York to California. But he went to Toronto for work, and he flew Delta, and Delta has just been so notorious with delayed flights these days. So his flight got in at like midnight or 1 o'clock. And like obviously I was sleeping, but we were on the phone, and I was like, text me when you land and text me when you get to the hotel, please. I wake up the next morning. I get a text saying that he's landed, but I don't get a text saying that he got to the hotel. And I was like, okay, this is weird. So I check his location, and you know how sometimes when you look at locations, it's not accurate. Like the person could be a little bit away from where they are.
Yeah, there is like a...
It's like a delay sometimes, or like a lag sometimes. So he was near the hotel he was staying at, but he also was like under a bridge and in some bushes. So I was like, okay, like deep down, I like knew he was fine, but it was more of like, I was annoyed that he forgot to text me that he got to the hotel. And so I texted him, and I was like, Pete, are you at the hotel safe? Don't hear from him. 6:30 rolls around, which is odd because Pete is like me. He has a routine. He's always up at like 6 or 6:30. Don't hear from him at 6:30. So I text him again, and I'm like, I swear to God, I'm going to literally murder you if you're not dead already. I was getting so mad. 7 o'clock rolls around. I still haven't heard from him. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to like panic a little bit because this is so not like Pete. Like it's a work day. If he saw, and like, so he doesn't always text me right away, but like if he saw that I was worried, he would immediately text me. And then 7:15 rolls around, and he finally texts me, and he's like, oh my gosh, we got in so late. I went to the hotel, I showered, and I just passed out. And now I'm just getting up. Like I slept in a little bit because we didn't get to the hotel till like 1. And I'm just like, I'm going to kill you. And he's just like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I'm mad. I was like, I am so mad at you right now. And he's like, I love that you care. And I'm like, don't be nice. I'm mad at you.
Don't do that to me.
I'm just like, oh, I'm like, Pete, you can't do that to me. I'm anxious.
I tell you what, you could not date me. I would be like, I'll just talk to you like at some point 12 hours later. Maybe I don't even remember.
You're like, text when you land when you're back in the same state as me.
yeah. Like, I'll remember then. Oh my gosh. No, that would be scary because it scared you. Let's talk about BetterHelp, because this show, Mean Girl Pod, is sponsored by BetterHelp. It is so important when life is going fast to stop and celebrate your wins, but it's equally as important to make adjustments for the rest of the year and to adjust as life is going. And therapy can help you take stock of your progress, set achievable goals for the next 6 months, celebrate your wins, tackle the struggles. You guys know Jordyn and I are massive proponents of therapy. We both go to therapy. We think that life is better set when you play offense instead of defense. And so if you guys are thinking of getting into therapy and starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try, because it's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, which is so important because, as we know, summer's ending. We're getting back in the swing of things. And so the worst thing you can do is start making excuses to not go to therapy, because that's what catches up to you. So the fact that it's entirely online and it is flexible is amazing. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/meangirl today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/meangirl.
Yeah, and him and I are just so routine, like very type A people, where like he gets up at the same time and he checks in with me, and I'm just so anxious about people I love that travel. And I was like, just let me know when you get there safe. So when I woke up, I was like, this is weird, especially because like he texted me when he landed, but not when he got to the hotel. So I was just like, what?
Right. Like you were missing one of two, which is more odd.
But then my rose is I finally finished Love Island season 6 USA just in time for the reunion that comes out Monday, August 19th, which should be today for most listeners. And I'm so freaking excited for the reunion. I haven't been this excited in so long to watch this. Like, Alex, it is phenomenal. So these people went into this show with either a low following or no following. And now some of the people have over 2 million followers on Instagram and 3 on TikTok. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's so wild how popular, because some shows just aren't that popular, and then some, I mean, that's high popularity.
Like, when was the last time we had an explosion like this on social media? I don't even remember.
I think The Bachelor was back in the day, like, and it was people before JoJo and Jordyn. Wasn't there,
yes.
Like, didn't Tyler, well, I don't know if Tyler Cameron was actually kind of in that area. But, like, some of them I feel like blew up, but not to that extent. I mean, that's massive.
And I guess, like, the first season of Too Hot to Handle and Love is Blind. But just imagine going into a show for, let's say, 40 days, no phone.
I did think of one.
Oh, who?
Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, like, in 40 days, you go into a show, you have no access to the outside world, you leave, and the producers have to give you a pep talk and prep you for what you're about to walk into, because you have such a large following now.
It's so wild to think about.
And it's also, speaking of the Kardashians, what's so crazy is I just saw TikTok on this. They're linked to everything. So Leah, who is probably the most popular out of all the people on Love Island, she's now being linked to Kanye, that they dated one time. And that another one of the contestants of Love Island, apparently his best friend was Kendall Jenner's first kiss.
Oh. Well, I like that all, though, because it just kind of normalized the Kardashians, right? Like, it just kind of it kind of gave them mutual friends, which I love.
But also, like, the Kardashians have their hands in everything. They do. Crazy, powerful people.
They really are just, like, everywhere. They're in a good way, though.
Yes.
But, like, wow, that's... Okay, so wait, I do now have... Well, I don't know if you're done yet. Keep going.
Oh, I was just going to say, so just for my Love Island Season 6 girls, I want everyone to know PPG. Those are my faves. And I'm really rooting for Kendall and Nicole, and I hope that they're still together.
Is that a lesbian couple?
No, Kendall's a man.
Oh, I was like, cute. Love that. Okay, Kendall's a guy. Got it. Could go either way.
They're just one of those, they're the one couple who they were in the final four. They left together, but Nicole has been like dead silent on social media. So we just don't know if her and Kendall are still together.
Oh, juicy. Love that they've left a question mark there. Know nothing about it, but I love that you don't know. That's great.
Yes.
Great business.
Okay, well,
maybe they're engaged. Do they get engaged at the end?
No, they don't get engaged at the end. That would be pretty wild because they only film for like 40 days.
Yeah.
So that'd be a quick engagement. I don't know, Nicole. There's a lot of theories that like Nicole's going through something difficult right now, or that she just maybe doesn't. She's having a harder time processing like the level of fame she now has. But I'm just very curious to see if they're still together. So we'll see tonight.
Speaking of 40 days, do you remember what I told you? I've been wanting to ask you this like 2 weeks after I met Harrison.
Wait, what's your question?
Do you remember what I told you like 2 weeks after I met Harrison?
That you were gonna marry him, or that you loved him?
Yeah, I remember I was like, by the way, like I promised you. Remember we were standing outside and I was like, I'm gonna marry him and I'm gonna have his kids. And you were like,
yeah.
Okay.
I was like, sure, cool, sounds good.
Because I was just thinking in my head, I was like, no shot you would know. Like, of course you can't get engaged after 40 days. You would never know. And then I was like, well, I guess you could have an inkling.
True. Wait, weren't you going to say something else too? Was it about the segue to Molly May?
Yes, I was going to ask you, was Tommy, how was it a segue? Was Tommy on Love Island?
I love how you were so upset about this, but you don't even know where they came from. Julie's going to have a stroke. So Tommy Fury and Molly May were on Love Island UK. They're like the biggest thing to come out of Love Island UK.
The two of them were on it?
Yeah, they were they the winners? They weren't the winners, but they left in a relationship.
Oh, I've always wondered how. Okay, that makes so much more sense. I thought she was an influencer and he was just a boxer. Not just a boxer, but I thought he was a boxer, she was an influencer, and they were dating and they were just like big.
No, they're like Love Island UK OGs. Like if you were to ask anyone about Love Island UK, those two are probably the biggest to come out of that show.
Oh, so is the Love Island world very upset right now at the breakup?
Oh my God, yeah, it's probably like destroying the internet as we speak.
Okay, so she got on my radar, I think a little bit before they got pregnant. And I just remember like, this is adorable. And then they obviously had the baby. I knew they weren't married, but didn't he propose?
Yeah, they were engaged, yeah.
Like recently, no?
I think so, yeah, pretty recently. I would say, yeah.
Because weren't there those rumors that they were going to end? Or that they were having problems and like he was seen in clubs and XYZ. And then he like did propose, and then like they were posting a lot together, and then like maybe those kind of like went hush hush, and then it's like today we wake up and it's just like they're over, and it's so sad.
I know. And Molly May's Instagram story post about like how she wrote it was so sad. What did she say? Like, I hate that it has to end this way.
I never saw it ending, especially not in this way, or something like that. Which
makes me believe that he's the reason for the breakup. Like, that makes me feel like it was because someone was cheated on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, what I do think could have happened is like, because, again, correct me if I'm wrong, she doesn't drink, right?
Correct.
And I thought she said that they didn't drink, but then he was seen at the, people were assuming he was drunk.
Yeah. Also, he's like a very serious boxer, so I know he's pretty serious about his health.
I was going to say maybe it was just like difference of lifestyles, but I don't know. I'm just like really sad for them because of the baby. Like, I'm really sad.
And on their Instagram, how he was like, you're my forever and always. Like, literally in July, they posted Instagram together.
And I think like, I do think this because I feel like they kept trying to make it work. Like, they were probably having problems, and like maybe they tried the baby, maybe they tried the engagement. Like, they really did keep trying because probably the pressures of fame, and they didn't want to address it. So I really do feel like they like gave it all they had, and then it was just that they couldn't make it work anymore. Maybe something specific did happen, but I just hate that that they had to do it. They had to end it, and they had to address it to like the world, and it's going to make a huge deal. That's really hard on them, and they have like a baby at home.
I know. The baby thing just breaks my heart. Like, I can handle when a relationship ends, but when there's a baby involved, that's when like my heartstrings really get pulled.
Yeah, I know. I'm really sad for them, and I do feel like with the engagement, like I do feel like they kept trying.
Yeah. No, I'm sure they did, especially with the child. They probably were trying 10 times harder because they were like, we don't want to raise this child separately, but maybe push came to shove and they just were like, we can't keep forcing ourselves to be in this relationship.
Yeah, and they had that beautiful like home together, and I feel like untangling that life is so daunting. You know, like having to go through the media and stuff like that. So it's just like, oh man, I feel bad for them. Breaks my heart.
They also are so young, though. Like, Molly May, when she met Tommy, she was, like, 18. So she's, like, in her low 20s. Yeah, she's, like, in her low 20s, and I believe he is, too. So, like, they have a lot of life to live.
Listen, Kylie and Travis, I feel like, co-parent really well and, like, totally make it work. And I'm, like, you know, we're not, I don't want to say we're, like, for, you know, not being with the father of the kid, but I'm also not for like staying in it if you're not happy. Like there's so many different paths to happiness, which I think this podcast is like so good at shedding light on. And I do think Kylie and Travis have done a really good job of showing like, hey, this is how you can like do a healthy co-parenting. I even think Chloe and Tristan have too.
Oh my God, yeah.
And so hopefully, you know, they can model that because it is the reality of situations.
Yeah, it was just wild because that like literally, I mean, we're recording a few days before Monday, but it like happened moments before we started recording. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it's so funny because maybe they've known for 3 weeks, but we're all just one Insta story away from like, right. Hey, by the way, my life changed. And you're like, oh, no kidding.
And we're acting like we know them. We're like, Molly's our best friend.
I'm so upset for her.
Oh my God.
I do think more will come out. I mean, you know it will, but like.
Yeah. Love Island
like
is just on top. Like.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please, because what is better than a good night's sleep? Jordyn, is there anything?
Literally nothing. Actually, no, there is a good night's sleep with Cozy Earth sheets.
Exactly. Nailed it. Because Cozy Earth literally equals a good night's sleep because these sheets that Jordyn and I got, you guys, there isn't words to describe it. I'm going to do my best to describe it. But think about this. You're temperature regulated. Right? When you're sleeping, you're hot, you're cold. No, now your temperature is regulated because Cozy Earth sheets are so breathable, you'll sleep several degrees cooler. Like, I know your body just smiled when you heard that. There's enhanced fabric, durable woven fabric that won't pill. Guaranteed for 10 years. These sheets are an investment, but like what better way to invest your money than into your sleep? Because there's a direct correlation. The happier you are is because you sleep more. Superior softness. And oh my gosh, Jordyn, is that not the most true thing ever? Like you lay on these sheets and it's just like you're on a cloud.
Oh my gosh. It makes it 10 times harder to get out of bed in the morning.
And that's why they have a 10-year warranty showing their commitment to quality, which is incredible because these sheets they're worth the upgrade. We're all getting older, and it's like if there's something you're going to put your money into, put it into your sheets. Put it where you spend the majority of your time, which is sleeping. Well, hopefully not the majority of your time, but every day you do one thing, and it's sleep. So upgrade your nights and transform your days with Cozy Earth. You guys are going to get up to 40% off. That's an incredible discount. 40% off at cozyearth.com/mean using code MEAN. Don't forget to tell them that we've sent you. And then you can, if you fill out the survey, you get your free socks. And these socks are not your average socks. These are not Amazon socks. These are Cozy Earth cozy socks. So you guys upgrade your night's sleep. I'm telling you, these sheets are so worth it. They are absolutely incredible.
I have a question for you. I actually have a couple questions for you.
Yeah, you have a few.
So... you know Madeline. Yes. She has just like the craziest takes and like wildest questions. Like I'll get a text from her like every day. Just I'm like, where do you come up with this stuff? And she asked me this question, and it really got my wheels turning. So when you and Harrison go to a restaurant, you know those seats where there's one side's a booth and the other side is a chair? Mm-hmm. Where do you sit and where does Harrison sit?
Booth. I'm booth side every time right now because it's comfier. But it's not lost on me. The booth is the better seat. So if it's a restaurant that like I've been to that he hasn't been to, I'll say you're sitting in the booth. But he always gives me the booth because it's the booth is comfier.
Wait, why do you tell him to get in the booth?
I'll tell him to get in the booth if it's a restaurant I've been to, just because typically I think the booth is the better seat too.
Got it.
So I'll if I've been and like I'm taking him and I'll be like, I want to show you the spot. I'll be like, no, I'm making you sit in the booth. But 9.5 times out of 10, I'm booth. What about you?
So I'm always booth and Pete is always chair, but Madeline and her boyfriend made a really good point. He was like, I should always be sitting in the booth and you should always be sitting in the chair so I can keep an eye on like the surrounding of the restaurant. And if anything dangerous happens, I can protect you. He's like, with my back turned against the door, I have no idea what's going on. And Madeline was like, I disagree with you because comfort is more important. But then I like told her, I was like, wait, no, her boyfriend's name is White. I was like, White actually has a really good point. And I told that to Pete too. And he was like, wow, like now my whole view of like where we sit is totally going to change. And part of me is annoyed because I don't want to sit in the chair. I want to sit in the booth. But now I'm like, wow, from a safety perspective, it's like a boy sitting closest to or sleeping closest to the door in a bed.
But I always find the booth harder to get in and out of. Like I don't think you could move as fast.
That is a great point. I also feel like it's a very feminine seat. Like if I see a guy sitting in a booth and a girl sitting in a chair, I'm going to get a little bit of an ick. Like I'll be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why are you in the booth, sir? Yeah, I got the girl. I actually love a guy having the wherewithal that a girl's in the booth because it's comfy. But I also think it's hard. It's really hard. Like you gotta like and it's girl and our purses are all over there and it's like, oh, your purse is fine, my purse is fine. Like I think it's a harder seat to get in and out of, although it's comfy.
I mean, they give you this much room in between tables.
Yeah, like it's hard. I see the point of like he's not being able to watch because like the chair is always facing the other way. But I think it's hard. It would be hard for them to get out and do anything.
Right? Yeah, I just heard when she told me that, I was like, interesting. I've never thought about that, but that you make good points.
Yeah, it is a good point. And I think a lot of guys don't know to let the girls sit on the booth side. Because I think there's two things to it. One, I think there's the booth side, which is comfier, and then I always think there's the better view side. On the off chance that the booth is facing like the wall, then I think there's a case to be made of like, that's where I think it's really nice if the guy's like, do you want the booth or do you want the better view?
Yeah, I mean, even when you would take me to restaurants for the first time, if I had not gotten, you were always like, sit in the booth so you can see the view. And I was like, hey, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know who taught me that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like somebody someday must have just said it, right? Because I wouldn't have ever known.
I'm sure your parents did. I feel like your dad probably taught you that.
Yeah, must have. I don't know, but I do think it's view and booth. But some guys I just don't think know it.
I mean, some guys don't know a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I know. It's so funny. Okay, well, what's your other? You have more. You have like 3 things, don't you?
Yes. Okay. So.
Oh yeah.
What is the male equivalent to an ick? You know how women have like so many icks for guys? We don't really hear guys talk about icks for women. So I texted you and I was like, Alex, let me know what Harrison's icks are and what his biggest ick of you is.
Yeah. Well, I read your text like as they came in. And so you sent the first one and it was like, ask Harrison his biggest ick. So I asked him. And I happened to possess his biggest ick. And so then when you were like, what? And I had it down to 2 things of what he was going to say is his biggest ick. And he said one of them. And then when you were like, okay, now ask him his biggest ick about you. I was like, would you like to change your answer? And he was like, nope.
Harrison's honesty kills me.
Oh, so blunt. Yes. I mean, you'll know it when I say it.
Is it? Can I guess?
Yeah, guess.
Is it something to do with hygiene?
No. What would it be?
I thought it was just going to be that you hate showering.
No, he could care less about that. Oh, update. I'm obsessed with showering. I shower like twice a day.
Wait, shut up. Wait. Quick side note. Why? What changed?
Something changed where it's like a pregnancy thing. It's like a nesting thing. I'm obsessed with like showering, wiping the counters. Like I'm so clean. My hair's wet right now because I just washed it. Like I'm overly, everything is wiped. Like I'm vacuuming obsessively. Yeah. So that's that. So now that's, that's the whole thing. Noah's biggest ick is short hair. He's like, it makes girls look like boys.
Okay, that's a good one. But you don't have short hair.
Well, I took out my extensions.
Oh.
I do.
Oh my God.
Don't never forget. Yeah. I manually took out my extensions. Took me 3 days.
Jeez. Wait, were you walking around with that?
I took half of them in. It was hard to take them out.
Yeah. Usually you have to get them professionally taken out.
I ordered the professional remover thing. And yeah, I had 300 in my hair, and so I just sat there. Oh gosh, it was brutal. But I'm so happy they're out.
Oh my God. Okay, what was his other ick?
Well, that was the ick. That was the.
Oh, I thought you said he had two.
Oh no! I was guessing he doesn't like feet.
Okay.
And so I thought maybe that could be an ick for him, but it wasn't. So those were the two. What's Pete's?
So Pete actually had like very specific ones. I was like, oh, these are good. Also, there's a TikTok, and the guy's equivalent to women's ick are when women are wearing heels and they like roll their ankle. I was like, that's so good and specific. I can't.
That's so good. And like that is like such a random ick. That's
girls
so
just wearing
good.
Stilettos, and then it.
I mean, it's just like, oh my God. But I always thought that was embarrassing. But to know that a guy like notices it and also agrees that that's an ick is so funny.
Or when when you're wearing heels and like your toes push through the bottom, so your toes are like kind of. I'm like, how do guys notice this thing?
Oh no, it's not good that they're that intuitive, but like they are. Oh man, that's so funny. That's such a funny ick.
So funny. Okay, so Pete's icks for girls as a whole are septum piercings. Like the little ring in the nose. Oh, septum piercings.
Okay. Yeah, don't have to worry about you with that.
Right? Sloppy drunks. Which I was like, yeah, I mean, that's ick in general for people. And then loud girls that talk in your face.
Oh, like talking right here.
Yeah, they're just like, rah, 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 and you're just like, whoa, like personal space.
Yeah, back up. Those are really good icks. Yeah, those are good.
And then his ick for me is my, when I eat too much dairy, my smellies.
Oh, well, that's a very fair answer.
Because it happens a lot because I eat dairy every day.
That's a really fair ick that I feel like, yeah, that's a good. That's a good ick. Do you have an ick for him?
I don't have like a ick, I would say, but it makes me so mad when he just like grabs my phone out of my hand. Like if I have the directions pulled up, he'll be like, let me see that. And I'm like, I swear to God, you touch my phone one more time without asking, I will take this and I will throw it at you. I'll just be like, he'll like grab for, I'm like, what's the magic word? I'm like, can I please see your phone? I'm like, of course you can.
Yes, of course you may. That's funny.
What's yours?
Okay. I think mine is the beard shavings aren't getting totally swept. They're getting halfway swept, like they're getting, like, we call it guy clean. They're getting kind of swept, and I just find them everywhere, and I'm like,
Remember in college when you would go to like a guy's college house and their whole sink was filled with their hair?
So, okay, let me ask you this, because when we were in Oklahoma, we went and did like the Greek Row tour, right? And like, I showed it to you too, didn't I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. We went to the game, the football game.
Yeah. So Harrison and I, because he had never really seen Greek life like that, because they don't have it in Canada. So I was like, we went and looked at the houses, and he was like, okay, you know, I was like, this is a girl house, this is a guy house, but girls can go to guy houses. But like, if you live inside the sorority house, guys cannot, like real life cannot come over at all. And
Correct.
he was like, whoa, wait. So like if you had a shacker, right, if you had a girl spend the night, you'd have to go to the guy's house? And I was like, yeah, I mean, unless if we're talking like living in sorority houses, yeah. And he was like, oh my God. And I'm like, I know, it's not even fair because the girls' houses are like so clean and the guys' houses are just, there's just
my
stuff everywhere.
college boyfriend lived in a fraternity house with like his best friends, and it was so disgusting. And I stayed there a lot because he moved into it, I think freshman year, second semester. He moved out of the dorms and moved into it. So it was just like great. It was like closer to my dorm. And I just slept there a lot more than he slept at my dorm, obviously, because I had a roommate. And I think back to the living condition of that house and the bathroom. Oh my God, I want to throw up thinking about it.
Oh, no, it's just like, guys, they get so much better with time, right? But guys in college, the way they live, I mean, it's just like the toothpaste, the beard shavings, the shit that's just out everywhere. It's just like, oh man.
Oh my gosh. My stomach actually gets nauseous thinking about that.
Quick pause, you guys, because this episode is sponsored by Anytime Fitness. This fall at Anytime Fitness, it's all about prioritizing, keyword prioritizing your best self by getting back into your fitness routine and focusing on a more holistic approach, meaning how you move, what you put into your body, and how you recover from the stresses of life.
I love Anytime, and personally, my favorite thing about Anytime Fitness is they provide expert coaching support. Going to the gym can be very scary, especially when you don't know where to start, but Anytime Fitness collaborates with you to build a comprehensive, personalized plan to get you where you want to go, all while providing accountability and recognition that challenges you to keep improving along the way.
I also love that it's super convenient. We're all about convenience here because Jordyn and I, we are both really busy, as I'm sure so many of you are all too. And sometimes it's hard to get to the gym. So the fact that I get coaching 24/7 at home, on the app, online, or at any location is such an incredible benefit. And you guys, if you just moved to a new city like me and you're looking to join the community, joining Anytime Fitness is the move.
So be sure to check out Anytime Fitness via the link in today's episode description for more information and to claim your free trial pass. My other question for you is, so someone DM'd us and they were like, I love when you guys talk about serious things. And I was like, or like struggles that you've gone through. And I feel like for both of us, like life has been pretty mental health wise good. But I saw this TikTok and I was like, oh, this is great. Cause it was like, it really hit home for me. And I wanted to ask you, I was like, okay, now that you are going to become a mom and you have Harrison and you're living in a house and your life is like calm and like more, like you like know what's going to happen next. Do you ever panic because it's so comfortable?
So I watched the TikTok. Is this the one of the girl saying you're right where you prayed to be or something? Like you are where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she was having so many ups and downs and she was saying like she lived for the high. And now she was explaining to her therapist about how it's not mundane right now, but like the waves have steadied. And her therapist is like, can I stop you? You wanted this for so long. Yeah, no, I don't panic. It's a really good question because it's funny because like having been married, I thought I had reached that point once before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, there's so much that does come with age. Like,
yeah,
there really is this like level of certainty and like awareness around what's happening, confidence in your ability to handle it, and sort of like peace with whatever happens, I guess. Those would be like the three buckets I would put it in that I think that I have now that I didn't have at 25 when I got married. And so I think knowing that now, no, I'm not scared of what like comes next or anything like that. I just feel like I wanted to start a family, and like I did want to do all the things I'm doing now. And so was your question like, am I scared of that?
Like, do you ever panic that your life is so comfortable? Like you don't have the, like because like for me, the best way I think about it is like for 5 years, my life was so, I guess, like spontaneous. Like I never really knew what tomorrow was going to look like. Or like even when you and I worked at Barstool, we were traveling every month, going out, doing these like wild things. Like our life was so chaotic, and I kind of like lived for that high of like what was the next chaotic thing I was going to do or experience. And then when I met Pete, obviously my life became very comfortable, but also like more mundane. Like I know what tomorrow's going to look like. I have like this very comfortable, healthy relationship. And sometimes, not anymore, but like I would kind of panic like, oh my gosh, like, well, why do I feel so anxious about having such a comfortable relationship? Like this is good. Like what's going on? Like, do I miss the crazy life? Like, do I miss like not really knowing? And then I saw this TikTok about how this girl literally expressed the same thing to her therapist, and her therapist was like, blah, blah, blah. Like you and I have talked about this every single week, how you prayed and hoped you would gain this life one day, like find that relationship one day. And I was like, that is so true. Like in my 3 years of therapy, that's what we were prepping for, was like this healthy, comfortable life. And I was like, oh my gosh, so this is just my body like reacting to like stability in like a good way. It's kind of like knocking the addiction of the unknown out of my system. And it just really helped me like process like, okay, this is good. This is where I'm supposed to be. And it's normal to feel this way. Even when you're in the happiest part of your life, like it's okay to feel anxious and like unsure, if that makes sense.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, do you get? Okay. So
like, do you ever like panic knowing that like your life is kind of like written out for the foreseeable future? Like you're going to be a mom and you're going to have a baby to take care of. Like you don't really get that like spontaneity or like that high of not knowing what the next move is going to be.
Yeah, I feel so much. No, I don't panic about that. I feel like truly, I feel like I just got out of a tornado.
Yeah.
And I don't miss that. I don't miss that tornado aspect of it, but I will say like somebody mentioned DM'd me like, did you have like a list of things that you were looking for like when you got divorced then started dating again? And I was like, not really, but subconsciously like a bit, right? And I think one of the things was that I had to recognize about myself is like having a little bit of spontaneity is good for me. Like that's part of my personality. And so I could never live, like I know that I'll go crazy if I wake up every morning, go to the gym, go to a desk and sit there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., go pick up my daughter and then go home and make dinner and then go to bed. Like I will, that won't work for me. And so I do think like we've put the pieces in place, like with work, with where we live, that we can have like enough spontaneity around like the stableness, and like that's a really happy balance. But it took me so long to get there.
Yeah. And like that was, I think, the most important part of the TikTok, because when I saw this TikTok, it was months ago. And it was actually like around a time when I wasn't like, I don't want people to think like hear me say panic and think like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? I was just like confused. I was more so panicking about the confusion of why I was anxious about being in such a comfortable, happy, healthy place. And when I heard that TikTok, it was like the universe telling me a sign like this is such a normal feeling of once you get to that place, like it is okay to still panic and be anxious sometimes because you're still getting used to it, and it will take time for your body to like adapt to that, especially if you had years of chaoticness. So it was just like nice to hear that even though you're in a very healthy, good time in your life, the part of your life you've always wanted to be in, like it's okay to still get anxious and like have those days of panic and being like, oh my God, what is going on?
Well, and I think it's cool too that we have the perspective of we haven't lived these structured lives forever. So it's like,
yeah,
we do, because we had that like you have those fun years, those spontaneous years, those years where you're like, oh, I was an idiot, where you're like, oh, X, Y, all these things. And then you look back on them and you're like, wow, like I've really level set the ship. It's like, that's a real, and of course there's going to be with that, like a little bit of like, oh, do I miss this? Or how do I look back on that phase of life? Or maybe you still follow someone that still lives that life, and you're like, how do I look back on that? And it's like, if you didn't live in that phase, you wouldn't appreciate this phase. Do you feel that? Like so much more like gratitude towards it, or like you crave leaving New York because you crave like a yard or something like that. And it's like, had you not lived there though, you wouldn't appreciate the other side.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love what you just said, because like I wouldn't change my life for the world. I would never want to go back to what I was living, but I'm so grateful for that experience because it does make me appreciate this part of my life so much more.
Yeah, like I even think about that with college, I'm like, oh man, like that was crazy, but like cool that it was crazy, because then, and then there's the corporate years, and it's like, it all has this like compounding effect. But I do think the hardest thing to remember is, like that girl was saying in the video, of like, remember where you are now is like where you wanted to be, like you do have to like wake yourself up and be like, no, you wanted this. And it's like, yeah, cool. Wow. And I went and got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was just like, it was one of those TikToks that like hit my For You page. I was like, wow, thank you, universe. Like I loved that. And another one, oh my God, Alex, I have literally been wanting to tell you this theory that I saw on TikTok for like 3 months now, but I've always forgot to bring it up because I feel like you would love it. Did you watch the For You theory TikTok?
Yes. Yeah. Is this right for you?
Yes. So there's this girl on TikTok I don't know if she came up with the For You theory or heard it from someone, but I heard it from her, and she was like, always add For You after someone telling you to be a certain way. So like you'll never be successful doing starting content, and like you're supposed to be like, you're never going to be successful doing content for you. Like that's like direct it for that person, not yourself. I had an example, but I think I deleted it on accident. A better example of the For You.
Or like that, like raising your kid with an iPad won't work for you.
Yeah, that's a better example.
Yeah, or like getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth, or getting up in the morning and not drinking water first thing won't work. It's like, won't work for you. Could work for me.
Like whenever someone doubts you or is negative towards you, you're supposed to put the For You at the end of it and direct it back towards them, because what they're saying should not and does not have to affect you. And I was like, wow, I love that, because so many people project their own insecurities onto you and tell you you can't do things because they're insecure about it. And I was like, I love that. So I started doing that. In my head, I'll just be like, for you.
Yeah, because I feel like what we're always talking about on here is like, is like to each their own, I guess, is the overarching theme, right? And it's like, really, we always like disclaim when we say things, and it's like, this is just what worked for us. Like you never know, but it's really cool to think about it in terms of when someone's saying something negative, like, oh, she'll never do X, Y, Z, and it's like, you don't think she will. Like that doesn't work for you in your mind, but it could work in somebody else's mind, right? And it's like, we do see it. I think with social media, it's like more important to have that lens on things, because it is an odd thing to pick up the phone and really give somebody, but like a whole millions of people advice based off of just like your perspective. I think it's a very dangerous place to kind of go. And so it's like, it's cool to add for you.
Yeah, I just, TikTok doesn't do great things for me, but every once in a while you'll catch one on your for you page where you're like, dang, that was a good message.
Is there such thing as like optimistic TikTok page? Like all just like inspirational quotes?
Yeah. There's this one. I don't know if this TikTok account is still around. It was around like back in 2020. That's the last time I've seen it. But it was every day they post positive news.
Oh, I love that. Like that, You know how you get on like cooking For You page? I'm on cottage cheese For You page right now. Like I'm getting served all those videos. And Let me give Harrison a little bit of credit right here. If I DM him like a recipe, you know how you DM people recipes like back and forth all the time and no one ever makes them?
Yeah.
Every single one of these recipes is getting made. It's like, I'm like, oh wow, that's actually incredible. But I've never seen a For You page that's just like happiness. I'd like to find that.
I try to get on dog TikTok. I'm like, just show me dogs. I'll be happy.
Just show me dogs. Oh my gosh, I want a dog so bad right now, and I know it's just like
me too.
It's like I know you've been wanting a dog. I wasn't really with you, but now I'm like with you.
What do you want? Like what kind?
Oh, hold on. It starts with an S.
Saint Bernard, Shih Tzu, Samoya?
Vizsla.
I'm sorry, what?
A Vizsla.
David, do you mind Googling Vizsla so I can see it? What the heck?
Says, I like Vizslas, but you don't. No, I think I like them. I thought I liked them. Vizsla.
I want a brown Cavapoo, 50-50, 50% poodle, 50% King Charles Cavalier, and I want to name it Savi.
Cavapoo.
And then, yes, and I'm going to name it Savi.
Because I saw that you said that, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to name it Savi. And then I want a golden retriever, and I'm going to name it Pinot.
I love it. I love it. I love both. I love the, yeah, I don't need to Google golden retriever. I love the balance of the two different types.
Or I want to name it, like, I love dogs that have, like, old man names, like Carl, or, like, I keep telling Pete, I'm like, I want to name our dog Carl, and he's like, that's so weird. Like, no, it's not.
It's so cute. Like, Bruce. Hi, Brucey. It's, like, so cute. I can't handle it.
I saw this dog today on TikTok that had to pray before he ate, and he would not eat until he prayed with his owner. And I almost started crying. Like, Alex, the mom would be like, go eat, and he, like, wouldn't. And she'd be like, okay, we'll pray. And then they did, like, grace, and they were like, amen. And he just ran and ate. And I was like, I'm going to cry. This is so cute.
They're just a specimen that it, like, they're so sweet. They're just so sweet. Oh my gosh, no, but I did see this dog, and he was a little boxer, and he was in the corner, and he had been abused, and like, yeah, and he was so scared of this girl just like petting him. Oh, yeah, I was like hysterical, because I was just about to say, dogs are so sweet, right? Even if you like, you know, leave them locked up for too long, you come back the next day and they don't care. They're just so happy to see you. And then, but then I was like, but then the other side is like, they get so sad. What?
What you just said. Even if you lock them up and don't see them.
Not like lock them up, but, you know, but if you leave them in their crate and that you're an hour late for dinner, they're just the most forgiving. Like, they're just like, oh, it's okay. Like, cause then they're just happy you're home, you know?
Yeah. And like, they're like so good with babies. Think about like you having a puppy and a baby, them growing up together. Oh, that'd be a lot of work, but so cute.
I was on this, like, I got served on, I more so scroll Instagram, and I got served these videos over and over and over again of, like, dogs. But the thing, I'm too late now. This is why I can't get one now, because I won't have time to train the dog before the baby comes. But a lot of people have the dog, and they get pregnant, and the dog watches the belly grow, and he'll, like, come over and give it kisses, and then you show the dog the baby's clothes, like you take it over and smell it, and then when you bring the baby home from the hospital, like the dog knows it's like his sibling and like he's protecting it, and it's like the videos are so dang cute.
Oh my god, I love that.
But
so much.
I've seen some dogs. Who did I just see? But I saw a dog the other day and like it knew I was pregnant. Oh, yes, I had gone to my parents' house, and my parents' dogs have these things called babies that they've had since they were little, and they're like their little toys that they when they were born with. And Jasmine went and got her baby and was circling me, and it was like really cute because like I saw a dog today and he like moved over on the sidewalk, and the owner was like, "What?" And then the owner was like, "Oh my god, it's probably because you're pregnant." And I was like, "Oh, does the dog know?"
They must, yeah.
Yeah, they must be able to like sense it. Isn't that funny?
I love that. Not to have an awkward transition, but I gotta tell you about this. It ends with us because I have to update you on this.
Okay. Yes. Update. I mean, I think I'm updated, but yes, I watched your video. That was off-putting.
Do you know how last week I was kind of like, oh, I feel like I might be Team Blake, Ryan. I don't know about Justin. Oh my God, Alex. This is what just goes to show is like, don't speak Jordyn until you do your research and don't go with the popular narrative. So now all of this press is coming out about it. It ends with us. And Blake Lively could not be more tone deaf about how to promote this movie. So this movie is about domestic violence. Like, the book is a book about domestic violence. Like, and everyone's arguing, it's like, it's a romance book. It's like, no, it's a book about domestic violence. And Justin is doing such a great job of educating people and talking about resources and putting in his bio, like how people can learn more and what to, like, if you're a victim or a survivor, you like, this is what you can do and how to have that conversation. And Blake's over here, like, making jokes, telling girls to like wear your cute floral dresses and go to the movies, and like promoting her hair care line, not once like talking about domestic violence. And I posted, I think, the video that you might have saw on my Instagram story of her in the interview when the guy's like, what would you do if a victim, or sorry, I should say more so a survivor or a victim come up to you and they want to talk about it? And then she like started making jokes about it, being like, oh my God, like share my location. Like, do you want to like blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, why are you not like, why are you being so tone deaf and not speaking or educating? And then last night on our Instagram story, she finally posted like 2 frames about where resources were. And I'm like, oh, good. Your PR team's finally having you do something.
Wow. Well, I thought her body language in that video was like a bit odd too, like too cool for school.
Right? Well, we can put up the video too so people can see it.
And Blake, I'm going to start with you. Most of us, if we're lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public, we only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could I'm just
social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics?
But what I can't figure out about the whole thing is like, Because it seems like a lot of people are Team Justin.
Yeah. Big switch overnight.
But why did, like, Colleen Hoover, like, why did they all unfollow him?
Okay, so I'm trying to figure that out. So I looked last night, and his podcast host is following him again. Everyone was like, oh no, they unfollowed each other. My only guess could be, Julie, could you quick check to see if Colleen Hoover is following back to following Justin on Instagram? I forgot to check that last night. The only thing I could guess is maybe they were nervous and they figured like, hey, Justin because Justin came out and said he didn't want to direct the second movie. So maybe Colleen was like, if I don't side with Blake, like the second movie might not get made, like kind of out of being scared. She's not following him. She's not following him on it. Is not.
Is she following Blake?
Julie's gonna quick check. I would 99% sure that she is.
I do think it had to be that. Like they did just have to go with popular. Like if
she's following Blake.
Yeah, that to me is just like interesting. But yeah, it must have just been
like maybe out of just like don't want to burn bridges with the big Hollywood couple.
That's what I'm thinking. Honestly, like you just had to go where the power was. Which but I am happy. I don't know what to believe. Like I am happy the pendulum is swinging the other way. If that's like what's right, I don't know.
Yeah, and like what makes me so upset is like people DMing me the wildest takes, being like, it's not Blake's job to educate people, this or that, and I'm like, not only was Blake one of the lead characters, she also produced the movie. She knew like it is actually her job, because so many times when people make movies about very serious topics, they educate themselves and then they talk about it. And just not even to like once bring it up is wild. And also too, Colleen Hoover, I'm 90% sure this is fact, was in an abusive relationship, like a domestic violence relationship. And she wrote that book with her mom about like similar things that she went through. So yes, it was like a book that's fiction, but it like still is a very serious topic, and people just assume if it wasn't like specifically a true story, like they just like don't have to deal with it in a serious way. And I'm like, what kind of thinking is that?
Well, and listen, I would be down if Blake didn't want to I wouldn't be like necessary. Like I would rather her take the initiative and like the human aspect to educate, right? But I do see the side where it's like not her job technically. Like if she does want to remain that like very Taylor Swift high level untouchable, like I'm not going to say anything about anything other than just show you my movies. But all that was broken when she did that interview and mocked it.
Oh my God, and that was not the only interview that I mean, there was multiple where I was like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. I had to like stop watching it because I was so taken aback.
Well,
but don't you think...
Go ahead.
Honestly, don't you think it kind of is her job, though, if she's, like, producing the movie and choosing to be the lead actress of it, that she should know what she's getting herself into? Like, why wouldn't she want to educate women? Like, she has a daughter.
I do think sometimes, like, these actresses don't use their platforms other than, like, movie-wise. And I think that's fine. Like, I am very down if they just want to be, like, Taylor Swift doesn't really... They like pick and choose, I guess.
Yeah.
And they stay up here because, like, Blake's not very lifestyle. She is just, like, producer, movie, actress. That's kind of her deal. And so, like, I could be down if she didn't educate. But I think about, like, a Jennifer Aniston in the role or something, and I do think she would do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's more commendable. But, like, I don't find it required. But I think the conversation is, like, abyss when she's mocking it. It's like, well, then you did... You know, so I think that's where it's like, well, you can't, because that video was clearly like, you may share my location, and it's like, wait, what?
She's like, I'm a Virgo. I'm like, Blake, at this point, just stop speaking.
Yeah, because it doesn't like, I don't know much about like the movie itself, but you can't discredit the movie either. Like that's where I think it's cool when somebody plays a role and they play it like so intensely, and then they don't cover anything else. Like press tours sometimes not dehumanize, discredit the movies for me because you see the character being their true selves.
Yeah.
And not as much the character. So I find like that balance to be hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I just wanted to quick say that because last week my take was so different. And then now that I'm seeing more information, I was like, I got a quick change or tell people my new thought process and maybe not give in to the majority thought process all the time.
I don't know. Like, I still don't know what to fully make. Like, something weird happened.
And Justin's not going to direct the second movie now, so that's sucks.
Yeah, it's just like wild to me that it all happened that way.
I know. It is crazy, but yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I'm seeing it tonight.
Oh, I can't wait to see what you think. I'll go see it soon, too. I want to see it.
Yeah, you should. I think you would really like it, even though you haven't read the book. Like, I still think you would really like it.
Yeah, I've been seeing people that haven't read the book still. It's just like a great standalone movie, too.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a really good friend. This is the listener question. I had a really good friend throughout high school, but we had a falling out in college that was completely my fault. Fast forward now 8 years later, I matched with a guy and went on a really great first date with him, and we were planning a second. Come to find out through Instagram mutual followers, he went on a few dates with said ex-friend a couple years ago and then broke things off with her. I know we're not friends right now, but I've already hurt her once and would like to avoid that again. He said it wasn't a big thing, but I'm not sure if I should risk it. It would be an easy call if it were a bad date, but we had a lot in common and there was a lot of chemistry. Would love your advice. There's just one thing I want to clarify.
Yes.
He went on the date with the ex-friend a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. Okay, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I say for sure go on that second date. If the friend is not in your life anymore, I don't foresee them being in your life, I don't think this will hurt that person. I feel like it's almost like she's like holding on to this friendship like they might be friends one day again, but I'm like, this girl's not in your life. Like, you keep living.
Because I gathered that too, but that the friendship's over, no? That's what I got from it. Yeah, and so
for a few years.
It'll be an easy phone call to make to the friend. Even if you've mended the friendship now, they went on a date a couple years ago. I mean, I think you're good to go.
Yeah. I mean, if I had a friend call me up and was like not a best friend, but like a friend was like, hey, I know you went on a few dates with Bob 4 years ago. Do you care if I go? I'd be like, no, please. Like, I am happily moved on. Like, a couple dates, that's nothing.
Yeah, what do you actually think is the time frame of needing to, how many circles of friends are, okay, how do I word this? When it comes to friends and dating somebody that they've dated, how good of a friend do they have to be for you to call them, and how much time has to have passed for you to call them up and be like, hey, go on a date with so-and-so. I know you went on a date with him a while back.
I mean, I would never go on a date with one of my like best friend's boyfriends, but even if my best friend went on a couple dates with a guy more than a year ago, or maybe like 2 or 3 years would be my time frame, I mean, I would ask, but I wouldn't think they'd have any issues with it unless like he did something horrible for her or to her. That's why they didn't go on like that 3rd, 4th date. But to me, if you just go on a couple of dates with someone, usually you don't have like that strong of a connection. I don't know. What's yours?
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Like, I think, I guess if it's like a best friend and they went on dates more than a year ago, I think it's easy to just be like, hey, Brian asked me out. I assume no problem, but like, let me know if there is one.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the friend will be like, no big deal. But yeah, I agree. It's like situational. You know, if he broke her heart into a million pieces and we are not over it yet, you might have a problem. But I think if the guy's saying like it's not a big deal, I feel like it's not a big deal.
Yeah. It almost makes me feel like this girl like wants a reason to reconnect with this friend or something. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I'm like, you're a good girl. Like, live your life. Go on that date with this guy. Like, you don't owe this friend anything, even if you hurt her in the past. Like, you guys are not friends anymore. Like, live your life.
That's funny. I kind of got that vibe too, though. I kind of got the vibe of like, it was my fault the first time, and now it's like, you're all right, girl. It's okay. You
yeah,
proceed.
she probably doesn't think about you anymore.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yay. Do you want to do like the fastest Rex ever?
Yes. You go first.
Okay, mine's Blackbird. I just started watching it, but I've watched 2 episodes and I love it. What's yours?
Have I recommended Hacks before?
I thought you were going to say Love Island, and I was like, no, you haven't done Hacks yet.
Love Island Reunion. Julie says I have done Hacks, but I'm going to do Hacks again because I just started season 3. It's great.
You have done Hacks?
Yeah, Julie's like, you definitely have.
Oh, I would not know. Okay, great. Yay, thank you.
Okay, yay!
Okay, love you guys.
Love you guys, bye.
Okay, that's it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening to Mean Girl Pod, powered by Just Media House. I'm Alex Bennett.
And I'm Jordyn Woodruff. So, AB, do what you do best.
If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, rate, and review. We are at Mean Girl Pod on all platforms. Stay connected with us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Snapchat at Mean Girl Pod. Podcast and social artwork and post-production by Creative Evolution Studios. Theme song to the Mean Girl Pod performed by Sergi Asbel. Mean Girl Pod, we're your besties in your ear. New episodes every Monday.